I want to talk a little bit about Yan Gomes before we go any further in this, because we're talking about tonight's game, and Yan Gomes is batting close to 300. I think I saw an OPS of close to like 830 something. It's great numbers, and I'm gonna hand up here. I said that the Cubs were going to be the type of team that didn't get much out of the catcher spot. And 20-some games in, I'm eating some crow on that.
Heck yeah, man. I mean, it's great to see the production from the catcher spot after he shall not be named has left the team. And I mean, it's great to see that Gomes can take control of the game like this. You could tell in every at bat tonight, especially after that big home run, he was just feeling it, man. He was seeing the ball beautifully. A couple pitches that he spit on were just fantastic takes. And sometimes the takes are better than the hits because it's what sets up getting a good pitch. Gomes was fantastic tonight. He also had a really good block of a ball that was like 3 feet out in front of the plate, and just he makes it look easy. But you mentioned, like, I was on that boat. I didn't think we were going to get as much production from the catcher spot because the obvious, and the combination of Tucker and Yan has just been great. And Gomes knows how to run a game too. That's the other thing about he shall not be named. I was always on the boat of he can't run a game like others can. So there, got a comment from Scott there. Yan Gomes, I agree right now. I agree.
It seems like that too, because if you look what's going on with the rival Cardinals, their ERAs are up. They're not pitching well. They're not playing very well. And you start to think like, man, Jed was onto something there. Like he had a number set, and he knew that there were a lot of things that were going to change this game. And having a guy like Yan Gomes who calls good game and cuts down runners and keeps people off of the base paths, I think that's something that like we didn't talk about much, going into this offseason, just about how trusted he is. I mean, there was an interesting ERA breakdown opposed to like going in the end of last season about the ERAs that some of these pitchers that are in the Cubs starting rotation now had with Yan Gomes opposed to what they had with Wilson Contreras. And it's just interesting to just see, man, like it all is about run prevention now. And baseball changed. And I just want your thought, like, is this Yan Gomes hitting thing obviously isn't going to keep. I mean, he's going to have ups and downs throughout the season. But do you think that, like, it's amazing just to sit back and think, like, how baseball's changed and how much this means now, like, opposed to maybe what it meant, like, just a couple months ago? The game is different than it is as of last year to this year.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. That's a great point to bring up. The game is very different, and the IQ, the baseball IQ, if you will, it has to increase. You have a lot more things to take in account for. Even, they have to worry about how many mound visits am I going to have previous, to this year. Obviously, that was a rule before, but they have to every year start to get more and more on their plate, these catchers. And it's like you said, it's become very important, run prevention, and even just on base percentage, like you said, keeping guys off of the base, because when you get a guy on base, you're now already in that spot with the new rule of disengagements. So if you don't have a catcher that's back there that can really basically stop the thought of just taking off automatically, you're in a bad spot because the pressure gets immediately put on the pitcher. So it's very underrated what he's doing right now. And with the bat, obviously it's not going to continue, but if you're getting half of what the production you're getting from this catcher spot, and you're still getting that great defense and run prevention, like you said, and a great way to run the game, then I think it's great. And something we also didn't talk too much about was the framing. And that's become huge, especially with these umpires this year have just been god awful from what I've seen, just god awful. So the framing's become great because you could just trick any amateur umpire. We've lost a lot of veteran umpires this year, and it shows. It really does. And having a catcher like that can steal you some strikes, can steal you some innings, honestly. I mean, one pitch can determine everything. So it's been great. It's been really refreshing to see what we're getting at the catcher spot.
I love what you say about stealing innings and stealing at bats, because that same pitch that you talked about earlier on to Juan Soto, I don't know if it's called a strike if Wilson Contreras is back there framing that ball. And that was a difference in the ball game. I mean, you're talking about it, 2 runners on at that point, and they bought a strike there. And it's just, I love how you put that, because baseball now is about buying outs and buying time, isn't it? Like, because if you look at what's going on all around baseball, pitchers are clearly not going as long as they were, prior to pitch clock. It is clear that pitch clock has made it to the point where pitchers fatigue so much quicker. I mean, there is no downtime. And the flip of that means that you're seeing the bullpens more. So bullpens matter even more. And having guys like the Cubs that have, 2 or 3 innings worth, they have a couple guys down in that bullpen that can give you 2 or 3. But I love how you said, like, buying time and buying outs, because as we watch in so many baseball games, Nick, it always comes down to a batter here, a batter there. Doesn't it seem that way?
Yeah, 100%.
And I just feel like that's where we're at with this Cubs team. This is why they work. They have a great leader behind the plate. They have a veteran ball club that knows how to play the game, and they play good defense, and they just know how to win.